Hey there, I'm Taylor Walden. I'm the owner of Radiate Prints and the host of the Shop Talk with Radiate Prints podcast. Today I had on Josh Lewis. He's the CEO of the Greenville ENC Alliance. If you hear the words economic development and you don't really think it has anything to do with you because you maybe don't work in economic development or you're not some big business in town, that's not the case at all. Economic development has a huge impact on you as someone who lives in the community, owns a business in the community, and that's what Josh and I get to talk about today. We talk about everything from how does a company in another country even find out that Greenville exists to decide to put a plant here. We talk about the positive impact that it can have on your business if you're a business owner here. So a little bit about why you should get excited if you hear about a new building or a new manufacturing plant coming to Greenville. And we talk about something that's been a hot topic amongst other business owners in town recently, which is how do you get people to come to Greenville who don't already live here and maybe don't have connections here and get them to come work for your business and stay. So Josh and I cover that topic and kind of what the Greenville ENC Alliance is doing about it and how you can help recruit talent to come here and get them to stay. Hope you enjoy it.
Never stepped foot in Greenville until I applied for the job.
Really?
Yeah. So my story, before arriving here, I was leading a regional group in Southwest Virginia, 8-county region. And at that point in time, you know, we had a lot of success. We were a growing organization, but I was looking for something else. I was looking for, you know, a small, mid-sized metro, you know, city, county area. So I could shrink my footprint and hopefully shrink my stress levels, you know, a little bit. Dealing with 8 county governments and traveling all over and trying to keep everybody happy is a tough job. So, so I just started looking for those opportunities in the marketplace. And then when this position became available, you know, started looking at the market and realized that, you know, this is a no-brainer, you know, that has all the fundamental things that you're looking for to be successful. And it's a new organization, so you can put your fingerprints on it. You know, I don't own my own business like a lot of folks like you and others, but it's an opportunity to build something. And so it was exciting for me and fortunate they allowed me the opportunity to be here.
Yeah. And I know earlier when we had talked about you coming on, you kind of worded it like this is as close to being a business owner in, like, I guess, a nonprofit world as you can get, I guess, being in like the chief executive officer position at a company like this. Yeah,
the only difference is I have to I say slight tweak to owning your own business is I actually have to get like 10 or 12 people to all agree with me to make decisions. But fortunately, they've allowed me a lot of runway and a lot of leash in order to make the maneuvers and implement the initiatives that I feel is best for the organization. But to your point. To be a CEO or president of an organization is you have to feel like it's your own business. I think if somebody's asked me what helps make me successful is I treat it like that, like I care about it, you know, and if you don't care about it and you don't treat it like it's your own business, then I don't know how you can be attached enough to it in order to give it your best. And so I think that's where there's some alignment between, you know, owning your own small business and running a nonprofit. You know, so I think there's, you know, for me, that's probably the most fulfilling thing I can do outside of owning your own business. Yeah. And what would you say made you interested in economic development in the first place? So I think I shared this with you previously. You know, when I was in college, I was interning in the Virginia General Assembly for a state senator named Harry Blevins out of the Chesapeake region. And what's interesting, when you're exposed in that environment, you're exposed to the inner workings of the government, you find out a lot that you don't know, right? And one of them is, economic development is a thing. Like, you hear about businesses growing up when you're a kid or in your high school or college, or even the general, you know, person that just pays attention to the newspaper, and you see these announcements or you see these companies locating. And once you get into the weeds of this, you understand that it's a system, right? It's a profession. It's a team that allows these things to happen. The people that carry the most water is really at the local level. Yeah. You have to be the concierge service. You're holding hands with projects. You're the ones controlling incentives. You're the ones controlling the real estate at some points. And you're in partnership with the state. And if the state's successful with their programs and we have a good business environment, that they all feed each other, right? And so I think When I was in the General Assembly, I realized, oh, well, this is a thing. They got cool code names for projects, like Project Maverick. Like, well, what is that? Well, we can't tell you. So it's a secret. So that was my first, exposure to it. And as I shared with you, I was interning in the General Assembly. So I had this idea that I was going to stay on the political path, go be a staffer somewhere, move to D.C., work in government somewhere. And then after spending some time interning in those environments, I realized that really wasn't what I was meant to do. So, yeah.
Okay. What are some of the code names that you guys have had in the past for Greenville projects?
Oh man, sometimes they have no rhyme or reason. Sometimes they have some connection. The project that we announced last year, which was Nipro Medical Device, which was a Japanese company that located here, its code name was Bluefin. And then
who comes up with the code names?
That's another it just depends who touches it first, who has the most influence, who there's really no rhyme or reason how that happens, but eventually they end up with a code name, and that's what you run with.
So when someone like Nipro locates here, how do you guys determine, or I guess, like, how does that even start? Like, how do they find out that we exist, like, Greenville, and that this is a place that they might want to be?
So again, back to, the system, right? For that company, and this was years. So I think 5 years they were considering a U.S. operation. And there was connections made in Japan between, I think, EDP and C reps, the Economic Development Partnership in North Carolina. And there was competitions going on, and they were looking in different states. And so once you...
So it's like North Carolina state level.
You're correct.
Okay.
And great partnerships there. I mean, they got talented teams. They have people embedded in Southeast Asia that speak the language, that are ingrained, that really help push a project, something that went far beyond the capabilities of a local economic development agency. So that project, so you're in competition. So once a company identifies they're coming to the U.S., typically they go through a site selection process, filtering through, and then hopefully you make it to the top 5, right? And if you make it to typically the top 5, you have an opportunity to win a project, right?
Okay. Is it specifically because like ECU offers training, or because, I guess, of the workforce potential here? Like, do we already have the workforce, or I guess do we have like the mix that attracts them?
You have a growing community, so you're growing in population, so you're growing the labor shed organically. You have a great community college, 18,000 students plus. You have a university, approaching 30,000. And you have these feeders that can customize and move, and they're all at the table. And so that, I think what's most exciting to companies when they look at the community is that they at the table with all the decision makers. We had a representative from Nipro at our investor reception last year, and he said it was very clear from their team that our organization was the community, right? Yeah. We are led by the community. The decisions to support an industry are led by the organization, but is inputted from the leadership of the community, and it felt right, and so that is, really, if you're them, that's what if you're putting hundreds of millions of dollars in a community, that's the type of feeling that you want to have, and that's our goal, to make sure that they feel that way. Well, I mean, the last few years have been extensive time placed into securing a mega site for Pitt County. The process for that involved the state basically soliciting the counties in North Carolina to submit to them sites that could meet the thresholds of a mega site, meaning 1,000 contiguous acres with at least a 500-acre pad. In that process, there were 30 plus submissions, and the state had hired a couple different firms to analyze and rank these sites based on a couple different metrics, factors, being one, cost of development, the placement of the site in conjunction with labor force shed, the labor shed. So lots of different things went into that, and fortunate for us, Pitt County was selected as one of the top 5 new mega site opportunities. We've upheld our end of the bargain. We've had the property rezoned. We've had the agreements in place with GUC and the city to run utilities. So we'll submit to the state of North Carolina for grant funding to cover the studies needed to even understand if the site is going to be viable or not. And that's really what this is all about. There's a lot of upfront money, a lot of upfront cost in order to bring a site to to the market. And for a site of this size, most localities or cities or counties are not going to take on that cost to do that on speculation. So the state identified the sites and have put their money behind it in order for us to access it and move forward. And so that's where we are today. Probably spend another year or so on the due diligence side, understanding, if it's viable, if we can actually get a site in the location that we've selected.
Okay, if I'm listening to this and I know nothing about economic development, I'm definitely not speaking for myself or anything, but what would you
all those
say?
Other people.
Yeah, all those other people.
Yeah.
It's me. What would you say to someone who's just not familiar with any of this world? Like, what is a mega site? What does it mean for Pitt County or for businesses here?
Yeah, so the end use, the reason why we're going through this process is to attract a large capital investment and bring jobs to the community.
Okay.
So when we think about mega sites, the easiest one to point toward in North Carolina is the Toyota site in Randolph County.
And what is that?
So that was the Toyota battery plant that located on a site that was co-owned or co-supported by Guilford, Greensboro, and Randolph, which I think currently the investment stands at something like $14 or $15 billion.
Wow.
And
how many jobs?
Thousands of jobs.
Okay.
Last I heard, it could be 6, it could be 10. And,
Okay.
it continues to grow from the original announcement, so I'm not really sure where it stands.
Okay.
So that's the reason for the exercise, right?
Okay.
In order to put yourself in a position to be able to attract that type of project, which will have transformational impacts on a community and a region if it ever comes to fruition.
Yeah. And what would you say to local business owners who are in the community? Like, what would a site like that coming to Pitt County do for them or their business?
Well, the simple way to look at it is math, right? So you say, okay, well, if these jobs average $60,000 a year, $80,000 a year, we know that about half your income is discretionary. Discretionary spending is what is circulated in the local economy and drives demand for services. So when you have population growth and you have increases in discretionary spending, it increases demands on services, which increases opportunities for business owners. Okay. So that's the formula, right? Okay. And that's the simple way to think about it.
Okay. So business owners, in theory, should be pretty excited about an announcement like that.
Yeah, all the work that our organization is involved in is all about increasing the economic prosperity of the community. Okay. How do we increase the economic growth? How do we provide stability? How do we provide increased wages for our citizens? That's every day. That's what we work on. Okay.
And so when you think about the Greenville ENC Alliance, like, I guess, what is your mission statement? I know you kind of hinted at a little bit, but
again, to keep it short, it's about drawing capital investment and jobs to the community and increasing, the economic prosperity of everyone. Everybody benefits when we are successful in that mission. So, and it's back to the sites and the buildings. We're looking to attract heavy capital investment and job opportunities. And again, that's, really in a nutshell what economic development is: either attracting and creating, or creating the environment in which those things happen organically. So, we're kind of in that middle part right now where we're doing a lot of work on the front end in order to create those opportunities, but we're also in a community that some of those things happen organically because the economy's healthy.
Okay. And how did the Alliance come to be?
Over the course of years, there was several business owners and community leaders and folks that felt that there was a need for a unified economic development agency that was representative of the city and the county, and also inclusive of business leaders and community leaders in order to increase our success rates. And so many years go by, been talked about, kicked around, finally had enough members at the table, enough momentum to launch in 2019. Of course, like I share with everybody, a great time to start an organization in the middle of a pandemic. So it took a couple years for the organization to gain footing. There were some leadership changes, still, pushing for the county to become a full-time sustaining member. And I came on board in the summer of 22. Okay. So this is 3 years, right about now, actually. So in the last 3 years, it was really getting focused and emerging from the pandemic, and then really executing on our mission and implementing initiatives and programs of which were more visible and that folks could engage with and that existing industries felt involved with. And so that was really, the last 5 or 6 years of, where we started and where we are today.
As a business owner in the community, I'm in a few different business owner groups and roundtables, and it seems like a common problem that people are encountering is being able to bring talent from outside of Pitt County and get them to come here, stay here. What would you say that the Greenville ENC Alliance is doing to kind of combat that?
Yeah, so it's all connected back to the strategic plan we implemented. We looked at all these issues and we understood a couple things. One is that, Greenville-Pitt County probably wasn't showing up as well as it could have in search engines and, community rankings and all those things. And so we put, through our marketing effort, we put significant resources toward changing the narrative about Greenville and promoting what it is and what it's not, and making sure that the positive outweighs the negative. And we spend significant resources and time and effort into doing that. And as a child to that effort, we developed a talent program. We understood through the strategic plan that we were keeping not only not being able to attract some of the folks that we wanted to based on, I think, market or conceived market conditions. I think it was also we were not retaining enough of our students. We have a major university here, and we understood that we, as a percentage of students working in our community, we rank not toward the top in student retainment. So many people graduated from here, moved elsewhere, right? And
I was going to be one of those students.
Yeah.
When I came to ECU, I thought I was going to move back to Winston-Salem because I'm not from the area. Yeah. And it sounds like that's a common
thing. And again, nothing against ECU.
No.
ECU's job is to bring in the best and brightest that they can, give them the best education possible, and set them up with the tools needed to be successful. It's our responsibility in order to retain them here. And, and there's a couple different efforts behind that. We have our Grow in Greenville initiative, which is an effort to really engage the school systems, engage ECU, engage PCC, make them aware of the opportunities that are here, but also kind of get some claws in them, right? Get them rooted here, get them understanding that this is a great place to live and there's opportunities. And in turn, what kind of on a similar note is the talent attraction side, which is how do we help our companies recruit people here? And so we have lots of different things that we've launched in order to help them do that. The Livability Magazine, our community ranking initiatives, but also the Grow in Greenville effort has some other things that they can utilize. We have day planner, we have a website, we have tools that we give the HR folks, day planners for people that are coming to visit or interview.
What's a day planner?
If you have interest in, dogs, and then we have a day planner for you to go out and experience the community through, that passion.
So you're saying it's like a little itinerary. So if I'm an HR manager bringing someone here, I can just choose what I think this person might be interested in, and then.
Yeah, so we curate those things. If you're a sports lover, if you're a food lover, here's what you should do for your day in town. So crafting, curating experiences for these folks. Helping with trailing spouses where needed.
What's a trailing spouse?
So basically, let's say ECU Health is hiring a doctor, and she comes in for an interview, and her husband is here, but the husband has to agree that this is a place he wants to live too, right? So that's always a decision factor for folks. Is there a way to assist them in their career? Is there a way to make connections for them? How do we get them rooted, right? How do we get them connected to people? Because ultimately people and your friends and your network is what makes you choose whether you stay or leave someplace. Financials, people think it's financials, but I think that's secondary.
Really?
So
what would you say is the number one factor?
Number one is always your job opportunity. But the job opportunity, their job opportunity, when I say financial second, the job is one. Of course, financial and job kind of go together, but you can have a job anywhere but be paying twice as much to live there. And so being, having less discretionary spending to spend the money on the things that you want. And some people will choose to be in a high paying area if they have a close network of friends. They're willing to pay that premium in order to be there, to have the amenities and friendships that they want.
Right.
So for us, it's the psychology behind that. It's how do we make this a welcoming place where you can come in and create your network, and you're also going to be better off financially. So the Grow in Greenville initiative is about that, and we're excited to launch those efforts. We just had an event last night, Growing Forward, that was all about young professionals, having all of our primary industries send the folks that have been employed there, I think, 2 years or less, to again get engaged, get them rooted with other folks that have similar interests. We have interest groups that we try to get them to sign up for and participate in.
What are the interest groups?
Now you put me on the spot. I don't know all of them. I think they change sometimes, but you have let's just say use pickleball is always popular, right?
Yeah,
we have pickleball clubs, you have book clubs, you have other things that.
So it's like a little like almost like a club, I guess. Okay. Just different interests.
Yeah, because if you move here first year or two and you're working all the time, and you go out, where you go to the bar, and then you're still trying to make friends. So how do we help them get rooted? And that's something we're putting significant resources and time behind.
Are y'all like sponsoring those groups, or is that like some individual in the community is doing it and you're just posting it on your website or something?
So we try to get them to self-manage those things. We provide the platform, we provide the connections, and then we want them to engage and create their own friendships. But we're just creating the pathway for them to do that.
Is there a place, like if I'm listening to this and I want to go find an interest group in Greenville, is there like a place on your website or something I can go find it?
Well, definitely go to growingreenville.nc.com.
Okay.
And then also reach out to our group, Julia on our team, who's our talent engagement manager, or Maria Satir, our VP of marketing and talent. Any of those folks can help anybody that reaches out, and they're excited to do so. It's like their favorite thing to do.
Yeah. I know how transient Greenville can be because I came here when I was 18, went to ECU. I stayed after college, and a little bit of my story is that I had found community here, and I think the community is what kept me.
So you proved my point.
Yes. So
that was good. Didn't know that.
But I will say, like, over the years, we've had some like transition with friends leaving, going to other communities for whatever. I think if there was some way where like it could be a almost like a little hub on your website where I can know to go and like see all of the little social groups. Cause I know one that I just printed stuff for them. So that's why they're top of my mind. But Baby and We, it's like a mom's stroller walking group. Okay. So again, this might already be a resource that you have, and I just haven't learned about it until today. But I could see that being like kind of something cool to like be able to point younger employees to and be like, look, you can find those interest groups, even if it's not one that you guys spearheaded, but like almost like connecting with these other little niches.
Yeah, so not recreating something, but pointing toward the things that exist.
Like a directory.
And I don't think we currently have that listed on the website, but will or do as far as in like making sure we have representation from things that currently exist. Cool.
It's almost like for you guys, you have to find these people in the community, and they're out there, and usually they're my customers. Like they're the ones who they're in charge of the T-shirts for the PTA, and then they're on this board and they're running this club, and usually they're that go-getter mom or dad. Usually it's a mom, that go-getter mom who is like, has her hands in all these things, and you kind of question how they can do it in the first place. But it's just funny how that person tends to be like this little community connector who can tell you what's going on in like 6 different spaces in the community. But anyway,
well, glad I was on the right track. But and we're already taking your feedback and putting it in action. Cool. And just know, and I think it's also important for the community to know that the city and county are working great together through this organization, where we are always talking about how to improve the amenities in the downtown and the things that people look for when they're looking for a place to live and take a job. So all those things, again, being a system, it's kind of like reinforcing loops. They feed each other. Like we're working on those things that help us be more successful on the retainment or attraction side as it pertains to talent. And the things are going in a positive direction. And next 3 to 5 years, the downtown and parts of the community are going to have lots of growth and amenities to add to the toolbox.
Awesome. I'm excited to hear it. I'm excited to see what's to come. I'm excited to see like what Greenville will look like in 10 years from now, just with all the growth that's happening. Exciting times.
Yep.
All right, so I ask these questions to everybody at the end of the podcast. What is one small thing that has made a surprisingly big difference in your business?
If you have employees, you have team members, and you give them ownership. So make them feel like they own what they're doing, make them feel like they're part of the creative process, make them feel like their ideas can be implemented. Not every idea, right? We don't always have all the money to implement everything, but we have to pick and choose. There's opportunity costs. If we do this, we can't do that.
Right.
But I think if you have people engaged, I know for me personally that's true. So I always assumed everybody else was like that. So I try to make sure that folks feel like, hey, this is yours too, right? And if they take ownership, I think the outcomes and productivity are much higher.
Yeah, awesome. And I usually ask this question this way, but I'm going to change it a little bit because I'll ask people, what's one piece of technology you can't live without for your business? Okay. And I think in my brain, I was like, oh, I want some kind of technology that's like someone else could hear. Maybe they haven't tried it before. But Josh, I tell you, when I ask people this question, do you know what kind of answers I get?
Probably the same one I'm going to give.
What's that?
I don't know. Should I share it?
Yeah.
My calendar.
You're the first one to say calendar, but
Okay.
that's the kind of answers I get is like cell phone, internet. And I'm like, these are wonderful tools, but I think I'm asking the wrong question. So I'm going to change it a little bit. What's one piece of technology that has been game changing for your business?
I think for most businesses, it was the cloud.
Yeah.
It was OneDrive or whatever cloud base you use. I mean, I think about 10 years ago or more of basically editing a file, sending it to someone, tracking changes, passing stuff back and forth. And now, you can have 10 people in one document all making changes, and somehow it's syncing that. The synchronization of the technology behind that is probably underappreciated. But I think the OneDrive, the cloud, and how we communicate with documents and sources is game changing.
Do y'all usually work in the office, or you're more remote?
We're all probably 80% off it. Well, I say that we're all out doing things all the time, but yeah, we're in the office.
So that cloud thing will help you, or helps you guys a lot, I guess.
Oh yeah. I mean, the cloud is a game changer for most folks. I mean, AI, of course, is, we can talk about that if you want, but for us, AI is not automation of process. There's nothing that we're utilizing AI now that is daily. It's more on maybe the creative side or the get started side or base templates or forms or whatever, but nothing as far as a process.
Yeah. The AI piece is really interesting. You can have like companies kind of come in and like look at your system and your processes and kind of tell you what AI could do. And it's pretty amazing. I've looked into it a little bit. I've not implemented anything quite yet. But there's a lot of things with APIs and being able to get your different like things to communicate to each other, which as someone who like physically prints products and has a whole production process of people that have to be communicated to, there's a lot of uses we have for it. But one broader one was there's a AI that you can get to basically live in your email inbox, and you can train it to answer emails the way that you do. And what it does is it basically pre-writes drafts and saves them as drafts so that you can obviously go in and edit it, because I don't think anybody wants AI just sending an email for them willy-nilly. But I do plan on trying it out just to see if it helps, because I think being able to see a draft of it and then not having to do all of the little, the niceties, you're like, hello, enter.
Hope you are well. How was your weekend?
Right. And it's like, I mean all of those things, but when I'm sending 20 emails.
No, you just give me what I'm asking for.
Sure.
So AI Josh probably wouldn't be a good idea. Yeah. So like automating my response would I'll probably just keep that to myself. But no, I get it. Like, I think that, but I also think about the technology is great, right? And, but I think about how busy we are now. I don't think technology is ever going to make us less busy. It's just going to expose us to do more things.
Yep.
Right. And so AI, like some of those emails, you might not even draft up anything. You might not want to respond, but now you got to filter through like 20 different drafts. Yeah, it's more work.
Yeah.
I think about all the different platforms and softwares as a service, and all the different passwords and logins, like MFA. Like I spend if one password gets changed in an organization, like 3 people have to go do something different. So it's always chasing the technology.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think about that sometimes.
If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
It took me a long time to figure out, that we don't control outcomes in this profession sometimes, right? I get caught up on the wins, get caught up on the pomp and, celebrations of wins. And we really don't control that all the way. It's ultimately a company's decision if they locate in a community. And you can do everything right and still lose. And so focus on the process, focus on individual actions, focus on the day-to-day, and grind and lead with standards, and everything else will work out eventually.
Yeah. And besides the business, what is one passion or hobby that recharges your batteries?
I have to stay semi-fit, like, the dad bod, try to keep that, to a minimum. But it's also for stress management. If I'm active or playing sports or working out, that helps, kind of mitigate some of the downside of the jobs, which can be stressful sometimes. But that's an important part of keeping me sharp.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think my husband would say the same thing.
Oh yeah, my wife can tell the days I work out and the days I don't, just based on my attitude, I guess.
And if someone was coming to visit Greenville for the first time, where are you going to take them?
Well, it depends on the person. So I mentioned earlier all the day planners and what the interest is. The good news is there's enough to satisfy lots of different interests and personalities, and so I would cater my visit to that.
Okay, I'll reword it. If you're going out for a date night with your wife, what restaurant are you going to go to?
Well, it might be China 10 or something. That's close to the house. but no, I think there's so many restaurants here, and there's so many different parts of town. The downtown has, on Dickinson, it continues to grow, and there's great opportunities there. I don't want to name personal businesses, but I guess I already named one. But
China 10 is going to blow up tonight.
Oh yeah. No, that's the truth. It just depends.
Yeah. No, I am trying to get a name out of you though, a little bit. Like, is there one and this doesn't mean that you don't love all the other restaurants. I'm just saying, like, if you were to go somewhere tonight, like, what are you in the mood for? Local business.
I can't be nailed down like this. There's lots of places. I already named one. Yeah. Sup Dogs.
There we go. Well, what do you get from Sup Dogs?
Well, depends on the day.
Oh my goodness.
Depends on the flavor of the Sup Crush and the hot dogs.
We can't tie you down to anything, can we?
No.
All right. And how can we find you on social media, Josh?
You can't. Yeah, if you're going to find me on social media, you're going to find me on LinkedIn.
I was going to say, you got to be on LinkedIn.
Promoting the community, sharing the stuff that the organization does, being a cheerleader. But I gave up the social media life a long time ago. For me, it can be a distraction sometimes. It can be a tool, whatever. But for me, it was I'm more productive without it.
Right.
So I don't waste time, or try not to.
And if someone wanted to find out more about the Alliance, how do we find you all on social media?
ENCalliance.com. Lots of information there. The Grow in Greenville, ENC.com for the talent initiatives. And, I guess if you ever want to get engaged, happy to come meet with you. If you're a business owner, David Horn or myself will come give you the inside scoop about what we have going on. And ultimately, there's lots of people in the community that's engaged with us, so you can ask others. I mentioned having 120 investors. We have I think a 43-member board. We have a board that's made up of, a vast majority of a lot of community leaders, but also city, county. So we're deeply engaged and ingrained and rooted. So ask others or ask us. Happy to talk about ourselves.
And thank you for tuning into the Shop Talk with Radiate Prince podcast, and we'll see you next week.